Hey everybody, welcome back. Now here we are on the Resaca battlefield proper. You gotta come here. This is a pristine battlefield, more reminiscent of a Perryville type of situation than you would see at a Petersburg or a Gettysburg type of situation. It's very interesting. You can see what the soldiers saw, and that's just what we're gonna do here today. I'm Garry Adelman. We got Kris White behind the camera. We got special guests, and we wanna thank our friends here at the Resaca battlefield for providing us access on a day when it was closed, and also thank the state of Georgia for, in the spring, giving us like high 30s, high winds, things to shoot in. We got 8 layers on each, so we're gonna get into it here. So we've already set up the battle a little bit. Here's McPherson coming through Snake Creek Gap. Here is him pulling back a little bit, and all of a sudden, masses of Union and Confederate Army soldiers have converged here, and we've got a real deal fight on our hands, and setting that up is gonna be our good friend, Will Greene, who really knows this place. Will?
Hey, thanks, Garry. And I want to echo your compliments to Ken Padgett and all of the people here in Gordon County, as well as the state of Georgia, but it's really the Gordon County people and Resaca battlefield folks here that have maintained all of this and have provided us access. And they do a great job here with a small staff, lots of volunteers. So hats off to the folks here who make this possible. As Garry indicated, we're standing right in the Resaca battlefield, a part of the Resaca battlefield. As you look over my shoulders, you are looking to the north through what is known as the Camp Creek Valley. The Camp Creek Valley separates the two ridge lines that define the positions of the opposing armies. Off to my right, to Kris White's left, is the ridge line on which the Federals will eventually deploy their forces. And on my left, Kris's right, is the ridge line that the Confederates will defend here. And as we mentioned in another video, the Confederate line will extend about 4¼ miles. But that's getting a little bit ahead of our story. When we last left our heroes, James Birdsey McPherson is retreating back into Snake Creek Gap, missing his opportunity to capture Resaca. However, this is going to trigger a lot of different action. First of all, Johnston, of course, is aware that a large body of Federals have appeared well beyond his left flank, and he deploys 2 divisions and a part of Claiborne's division, Heineman, Walker, and part of Claiborne's division, to come down to Resaca to see what the heck is going on down here. And he sends John Bell Hood to supervise this entire operation. Sherman, of course, is disappointed that McPherson didn't capture Resaca, but he says, "Don't hang out there, Jimmy. Hang out in Snake Creek Gap. We're going to bring down the rest of the army here, and we're going to go through Snake Creek Gap and occupy that position and try to attack Resaca from the west." So, another thing is going on right now. Leonidas Polk's army of Mississippi, which has been summoned to northwest Georgia to reinforce Johnston, begins to arrive on May 10th and May 11th to increase the forces here. Now on the 10th, Hood reports back to Johnston, hey, the Yankees are gone. I mean, yeah, they were here yesterday, but they're not here today. So Johnston says, all right, Claiborne, come on back to Rocky Face Ridge. That's where it seems the Yankees seem to be. But Walker, Heineman, you sort of split the difference. You stay at a little depot called Tilton between Resaca and Dalton, and in a position to go either direction. In the meantime, Sherman says, all right, everybody, we're heading down to Snake Creek Gap, and on the 11th and 12th of May, Sherman's army moves to join McPherson in Snake Creek Gap. He leaves 1 corps behind at Rocky Face Ridge in order to entertain the Confederates there. But his plan is to consolidate the army in Snake Creek Gap. By the 11th of May, Johnston is convinced that the real action is going to be down here at Resaca, that the story at Rocky Face Ridge is over, and he starts moving his army down to Resaca. He also has sent an engineer officer to lay out this defensive line. And as we mentioned, this defensive line is a very strong one. It's anchored on the left on the Oostenaula River, on the right on the Conasauga River. It runs for about 3¾ miles from south to north. Here on my left, occupying a portion of this ridge, this is going to be Polk's forces and Hardee's corps are going to be occupying this long stretch of the Confederate defense. Then it's going to refuse its right flank. And Hood's corps is going to extend a little bit more than half a mile to the right, facing, instead of west, like the rest of the Confederate Army, it's going to be facing north towards Dalton and Rocky Face Ridge, with its right flank anchored on the Conasauga River. They have constructed earthworks out here, they have cavalry on both flanks, and Johnston is feeling like he's got a very strong position. In the meantime, by the 12th, the rest of the Union Army has arrived, and on the 13th of May, it emerges from Snake Creek Gap and by mid-afternoon occupies the high ground at the Bald Hill. Sherman sees all of this Confederate force out here. Of course, one thing we should mention is that it's more wooded today than it was in 1864. The Confederates had cleared a field of fire. There were woods down from the slope of the Union line down to the Camp Creek Valley, but the Confederates were in full view of Sherman. Sherman decides on the 13th that he's going to probe forward, try to establish where the Confederates are, but his real plan is not to drive the Confederates away. His real plan is to outflank them and force them to retreat. And he is going to send a division, this is Tom Sweeney's division of the 16th Corps, to go to a place downstream from Resaca called Lay's Ferry and construct pontoon bridges at Lay's Ferry, cross a federal force there, get behind Johnston's position, and force him to retreat. And that's going to be the setup for the next day when the real battle, now there's some skirmishing out here on the 13th, there's spirited skirmishing, but no real intent to accomplish anything on Sherman's part. The real fighting is going to begin on the 14th, and that's what we'll talk about at a next video.
That's great, Will. And you know, for something that we're talking about where this wasn't even Sherman's real plan, this is a real deal battle, okay? And off in the distance there, on the following day, you are going to see real deal fighting. You're going to see Cox and Judah and others really moving forward here until all of a sudden this battle will eventually eclipse in cost there, elsewhere on the line, you know, the likes of Bull Run and Kennesaw Mountain and others. This is a real deal battle, and we're lucky that this real deal battle is justified with more than 1,000 acres preserved by the American Battlefield Trust and our partners, again, the Georgia Battlefield Association, and the great job the county government does to administer this place. So we're really lucky to have it here, and I'm looking forward to exploring more here. But before, as promised, I already said that I had a contrivance I wanted to break out, maybe to feel better about myself. So Kris White, come on up here for something we started the other day at Chickamauga called Name That River Crossing. Here we are near the Oostanala, you know, so why not? We're just going to get into this a little bit. So you get up here too, Will. There's no escape. We need you.
You're frightening me, Garry.
I named the crossing. You tell me what battlefield it's most associated with. Reed's Bridge.
Chickamauga.
All right. U.S. Ford.
Chancellorsville.
Grapevine Bridge.
Seven Pines.
All right. We'll call it Seven Pines. That's good enough. Worthington Ford.
Monocacy.
Monocacy. Good. How about Banks's Ford?
Oh, that'll be
Chancellorsville.
Jacobs Ford.
That is
Mine Run.
All right. Good. It's a tie there. Blackburn's Ford.
Bull Run. First Manassas.
Lower Pontoon Crossing.
Fredericksburg.
Good. What else do I got? McInturf's Ford.
Monocacy.
Is that?
Did
Did I get it wrong? I thought that was Cedar Creek. Oh my God, I failed in my own thing here. Oxford?
Chantilly.
Yes.
Oxford, Mine Run? Or I mean, North Anna.
North Anna as well.
North Anna, yeah.
And lastly, Mitchell's Ford. Pretty tough one.
That's First Manassas.
First Manassas. Well, thank you for playing Name That River Crossing, guys, with no warning at all. I never provide any of that. Thanks so much to the folks at Resaca for having us. We got more in store here at Resaca and then elsewhere in the Atlanta campaign. Thanks to Kris behind the camera. Thanks to our victims right here, Kris and Will. Thank you for supporting battlefield preservation and education.